One of the biggest changes in terms of game development and the lifespan of a video game has been a greater focus towards lifestyle games or games as a service. Now, when we combine that with the game industry's pattern for following or trying to keep trends and major genres alive, it creates a situation of many developers playing catch up with whatever is the big name game. We have seen this with platformers, MMOs, open world games, free to play, and what's most likely happening right now with Battle Royale. And as the title for today's video is focused on, no matter how great your game is, no matter what your branding is going to be about, you will never create the next Fortnite. And this is a very harsh lesson. It's one that has been repeated over the last 30 years. In fact, earlier versions of this video could be, you will not create the next Clash of Clans, or you will not create the next World of Warcraft, or you will not create the next Mario. And if we somehow really went into the past, we could say you will not create the next Pong. And understanding why is a combination of design, marketing, and being able to read what it means to create a brand. And these are all essential topics for anyone interested in game design. Now, as I just said, when it comes to the game industry, it's always been built on these cycles. Whatever is the big name game will drive development, especially in the AAA space, for a few years until the next big game, and so on and so forth. And during that time, we will see many developers try and either directly emulate a big name genre or try to put their own unique spin on it. This was incredibly true during the MMO bust of the last decade with World of Warcraft, because developers were at least smart on that front. Nobody thought to themselves, I am going to be Blizzard and make the next World of Warcraft. They thought, oh, I can just create something that maybe will be like this game, but will do something different. And while this is a strong, or while this may sound like a sound strategy for a lot of developers, it never works out well for them. And this is becoming even worse in modern times, or in these last few years, with the push towards lifestyle games or games as a service. If you don't know what those terms mean, we're referring to games where it's not about you playing it for a few hours here, maybe once a week, stuff like that. This is about you playing one game for months, if not years on end. Be it stuff like World of Warcraft, Team Fortress, CSGO, League of Legends, Fortnite, PUBG, and so on and so forth. But the idea is that the game itself becomes larger than the design. For the people who love Fortnite, it's not just about them playing Fortnite. They are following well-known streamers who play it. They are keeping an eye out for all major news pieces and updates. They maybe will buy Fortnite brands or watch stuff along those lines. As the term implies, it becomes a lifestyle for them. And when that happens and someone becomes hooked on that game, that is it for them when it comes to playing anything else. And it's what's gotten a lot of people worried about trying, or even more worried about discoverability. But that will be a topic for another video. Like we said in the title, it is impossible for you to create the next Fortnite. And one of the big things about this, and what we've seen when it comes to any big name game that becomes a brand, is that brand becomes stronger than just the design. And while, again, I don't have any footage of Fortnite, I do have footages of games that have become trendsetters that I think we're going to turn to right now. The footage, obviously, right now you're seeing of is Resident Evil 4. And Resident Evil as a franchise is a really big example of how major studios followed the big name trends. The original Resident Evil 1 set the standard for what will become modern survival horror games, and then Resident Evil 4 became the game that kind of led to the quote-unquote action horror genre. But whatever the case may be, when a game does hit that saturation point, everybody and their brother is going to try and copy it. Like we've talked about on stream numerous times, I've lost count the number of times the developer has sent me a quote-unquote battle royale or Fortnite killer game that they would like me to check out. And like we've said, again, the focus for today's video is that when a game hits that level, when it's not just a good game in of itself, but it becomes its own brand, it becomes impossible to topple. We've seen, as another point, we saw this with Minecraft at the start of this decade, and how it rose to pop culture dominance. But when it comes to games that hit this level, the fan base become invested in this game. Again, it's not just about you playing this game and enjoying it from a mechanic standpoint. It's about you wanting to be in this brand and enjoy these characters in the setting. And when someone gets at that investment point, a new game is not even going to be on their horizon to switch off to. Because again, when it comes to lifestyle or games as a service design titles, you're not playing this game for a little bit. This is your major game for the next few months or years. Not only that, but the sheer amount of clout that is built into this title becomes almost like its own perpetually motion-based device or something along those lines. Going back to the World of Warcraft example, many developers over the last decade try to beat WoW either directly at its own game or indirectly with similar titles like City of Heroes Online, Lord of the Rings Online, any title with online in the title. But you can't do that, because I've said this before and I'll keep saying this, and we'll use Fortnite again as an example. If you are building a game like Fortnite, or even just a Battle Royale style game, why the heck should someone who is already playing Fortnite switch over to your game? Someone who has spent the better part of 6 months to a year building their characters, getting all those costumes and those dancing modes and so on. But the serious point here is that not only does it become a matter of branding, but it becomes a matter of advertising as well. I am sure for everyone watching this video right now, you have probably seen commercials for Candy Crush Saga by King. And before that, you probably saw commercials for Farmville or online ads by Zynga. The point is that the advertising machine that gets behind these games makes sure that not only are people playing them, but that they know about them above everything else. And this is what led to a lot of mobile developers really losing out over this last few years. Everybody who tried to copy Angry Birds or Farmville or Clash of Clans, not only did they fall from a branding standpoint, but they fell for advertising. Because when these companies become big enough to become brands onto themselves, they have just one of the most lucrative advertising campaigns as well. This is why you still see commercials for games like Hearthstone, or why all the mobile games, and why we are seeing more commercials for Fortnite as well. Because these games are big enough to know they can sell themselves on that name alone. And at this point, they become entrenched in terms of their fan base and their popularity. And why I think we are going to be hearing from a lot of Battle Royale inspired studios most likely going to be closing or losing those games, as we saw with Radical Heights from Cliffy B's studio that I think went under a few months ago at this point. But to begin to wrap things up for today's industry insight, when it comes to being successful in this industry, you cannot directly chase whoever is the king. Because once they become the king, they are not going to get knocked off. And they will only grow bigger from here. We've seen this again with Minecraft, we've seen this with World of Warcraft, and I am going to bet you we are going to be seeing this with Fortnite in the next few years. But the question then turns to, how can you do anything against them? And that is a topic that, again, will lead into more of this discussion about lifestyle games and why they may be posing more of a danger. But when it comes to something, a mega juggernaut like Fortnite, unfortunately, even if you do manage to compete mechanically wise, like we've talked about, you will not compete branding wise. And it sounds like it would work. We see this with other markets and other industries. If somebody makes product A and I can make product B better than it, people will flock to the better product. But when we talk about branding and we talk about these franchises and advertising all collating together, it becomes greater than the sum of its parts. And I am sure right now that there are people working on Battle Royale games that are going to be mechanically superior to Fortnite. Whether it will be from a shooting aspect, from a building aspect, or from both. I mean, there could very well be a game that is literally Fortnite, but better. But it will never have the advertising strength and the branding clout that Fortnite has developed. The same thing goes for Minecraft, the same thing goes for World of Warcraft, and again, I am sure it will be for whatever will be the next trend following Battle Royale. And as a fun point for everybody watching, let's name what could be the next big trend in the game industry after Battle Royale. Let me know in the comments below. But thank you so much for watching today's Industry Insight. If you'd like to suggest a topic for me to look at in the future, please don't hesitate to get in touch and check back for daily discussions on game design here and on Game Wisdom, where we examine the art and science of games. Until next time, have a good day. Before we get to the credits, just a quick shout out to the supporters over on patreon.com/gwbicer. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to check back for our regular streaming, most nights at 9:30, 10 EST, and you'll find a schedule linked down below. For a collection of my writings as well as audio casts on design, you'll find that at game-wisdom.com. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at gwbicer. If you're interested in hanging out and talking about game design topics, we have a Discord channel with the basic tier open to everybody, and that is linked down below as well. If you'd like to support us on Patreon, it is at patreon.com/gwbicer. Your support can help to keep things going and growing, and you can earn rewards such as ad-free versions of our talks, votings for our specific Let's Plays and grab bag streams, and more. But that's it for now. Thanks again for watching. I hope you come back for more great discussions on design here and on GameWisdom.com, where we examine the art and science of games.